The views and opinions expressed on this program are not those of Norfolk State University or WNSB-FM. Thank you for listening.
It's Hampton Roads Voices. Hot 91.
The culture and importance and also the sustainability of HBCUs. Hi, everybody. I'm Benita Adams, and today on Hampton Roads Voices, we're going to hear from NSU's president, administrators, and students about HBCU sustainability. That's academically, socially, culturally, as well as financially. How important is it for alumni to participate in donating to HBCUs? What is the important way a community can support an HBCU? And we are going to talk about the Battle of the States event. Call in with your questions at 757-823-9110. The culture, importance, and sustainability of HBCUs. Next on Hampton Roads Voices on Hot 91.
It's Hampton Roads Voices. Hot 91.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Benita Adams, and this, yes, is Hampton Roads Voices, where we have passionate guests, passionate callers, and interesting topics. Today, we're going to talk about the culture and importance and also the sustainability of HBCUs. What is your experience? Are you an HBCU student right now? Are you part of the alumni from an HBCU, whether it's NSU or any other school here that you are a part of? Maybe you are the parent of a student that has just really joined and started an HBCU. Again, we want to hear from you. We want you to be a part of the conversation. Our number is 757-823-9110. Our in-studio guest today is no stranger to Norfolk State, is Mr. Calvin Arthur. He is the NSU, the manager of the foundation manager of NSU Foundation. And he's going to be here in the studio the entire show, just talking about philanthropy and all those kinds of things that make the important aspect of the sustainability of an HBCU. Mr. Arthur, thank you for being here.
Benita, thank you for having me this evening. It's an exciting weekend here at Norfolk State. So I want to say welcome back to all of our alums. And it's going to be a great kickoff weekend with our Labor Day Classic.
Absolutely. As we hold that rain off, we'll be doing okay.
Yes.
But we're hoping that it holds off. So much a part of this weekend has to do with giving back. It has to do with philanthropy, giving financially, also other ways, but really very much so philanthropy. Talk about how important that is. Let's just even start this conversation with that. How important is philanthropy to the overall success and sustainability of HBCUs in general?
Well, thank you, Benita. It is critically important, and we like to use the term investment along with philanthropy because that's exactly what it is. We need to continue to invest. It's important for our alums to come back and to continue to invest not only in Norfolk State, but all of our HBCUs. It's a critically important part of the formula of sustainability for HBCUs, but it's not the only part.
Okay, so that is just one aspect of it. So let's talk a bit as we move into this, a little bit about the foundation, the mission, and the purpose, in case there's someone out there, they didn't know that NSU had a foundation. Tell us its mission and purpose.
Absolutely. The foundation was started back in 1971 to be a supporting foundation for Norfolk State. Our mission is no different from the universities. Our job is to assist the university staff and faculty and certainly their advancement team headed by Dr. Fontaine in fundraising and trying to bring in those major gifts, endowment, scholarship support for the university programs and students.
Absolutely. And you said it was started in 1971.
Right. It was started in 71. We have a volunteer board. It's community leaders, alums, and we have up to 50 members we're authorized for, but currently we have about 33 members. If you're interested in giving back, please reach out to us. We're looking for additional board members that want to be engaged in supporting the university.
Now, has the purpose, the mission, the function changed at all of the foundation since its inception?
Not at all, but I would say that the way we do things have changed.
And how is that?
I think right now the efforts are really focused on supporting the university in assisting role. At one time, and at different universities, it's a different model. But at one time, this foundation was more out front, leading the effort on fundraising. Our job now is more of assisting and, of course, managing the great gifts that come in from the community, alums, and corporate donations. We currently have a little over 30 million of endowed and invested assets. So our job is really that financial steward, and we work very, very closely with the Office of Financial Aid here on campus to award those dollars. So we're the official recipient of those private gifts, and then our job is not to hold that money. I always tell my board, the worst thing we can do is hold on to the money. Our job is to get that money over to financial aid and find a student that matches to that donor specification so those gifts can be awarded to help a student.
Now, that's so critical that you say that, because later on in one of our interviews with the athletic director, Mr. Miller, he was talking about his path here and how he came here needing assistance. And had it not been for the financial gifts that were given to him, perhaps he would not be where he is now, having been here, I think he said 45 years.
Exactly.
And so when you say that, I'm hearing somebody out there say, I didn't even know that. And I know someone who has a need.
Absolutely. We are still receiving a great deal of first-generation students. That's first in their family to come to a four-year institution to start their college career. It's intimidating. The rules have changed. It's a great deal of complexity in figuring out and navigating the course to apply for federal financial aid. The laws have changed on eligibility for loans. So it is critically important to supplement those things that the federal government have made a little bit more difficult for students to receive, that the private support is there to assist them. And whether it's an endowed scholarship or a simple book scholarship, we need to have those private dollars to supplement our students' education.
We do. And I hear that you say even a simple book to supplement that. Books are so expensive.
Books are very expensive.
Every parent and teacher and student and administrator knows that out there. So to even be able to help a student with that is amazing. It's critical for his or her success.
That's right. And we have opportunities for folks to establish book scholarships. It could be named in their honor. And it would be able to provide book scholarship for students for their entire Spartan career, as we say. So you could provide the books in a named scholarship for a student their entire academic career with as little as about $1,000 a year.
That is amazing. Now, we want to hear from you. Our number is 757-823-9110. Did you know that we had a foundation here at Norfolk State University? What about the sustainability in all aspects of HBCUs? Are you a Spartan? Are you coming to the game tomorrow? Give us a call, 757-823-9110. Just come and call and give us a shout out about what's going on and how you love the atmosphere and why you chose an HBCU and what it has done for you, whether you're a first generation or not. 757-823-9110. Now, why is it so important? And you mentioned this, but let's reiterate this a little bit. The important way that a community at large can support an HBCU, particular organizations, or we're talking about churches, businesses?
All of the above.
Okay.
As I mentioned, giving is just one of the components of sustainability. And as we talk a little bit more about those components of actually giving, alumni giving is absolutely the first thing. Folks want to see that your alums are investing in you, and that encourages them to give. They really want to ask the question, and they ask it of me, they ask it of my board members, what have you given? So if you're out there asking folks to support, you better have a message and a story of how you've given personally to support this. But the community here at Norfolk State, we certainly want to be a resource and a partner with the community. There's a long, long history, not only with the community, but specifically with the faith network here in the community. So all of those entities are integral partners and very important partners when it comes to supporting the university. And the university has a responsibility as well to be a resource and an economic engine in the community. I think there was an economic impact study done a few years ago. University generates somewhere in the neighborhood, I'm probably saying this low, about $171 million of economic impact. You're employing over 2,400 people here in the city. That's a way that the university itself gives back to the community. And then there's the corporate support. We want corporate partners with our local major corporations, whether it be banks, industry. We want their partnership as well for for our students to have the opportunities for internships and opportunities for jobs after.
That's exactly what I was going to say, because that gives a wonderful place and opportunity for a student to get in there and learn some wonderful things that he or she absolutely needs to know. Again, we want to hear from you at 757-823-9110. Are you an alumni of an HBCU? Are you alumni of Norfolk State University? What about the Battle of the States, the Battle of the Bands? What's going on with you? And just give us a shout out and tell us how it has been with your experience. We have some exciting interviews coming up. And after the break, we're going to hear from our interim president, and he's going to tell us a lot about what's going on. So make sure you keep it locked in here at Hot 91.
Is Hampton Roads Voices on Hot 91.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Benita Adams, and we are here on Hot 91 on Hampton Roads Voices, and we're talking about the sustainability and the viability of Hampton Roads Voices, not just our show, of course, but HBCUs. We want to hear from you, 757-823-9110. Earlier this week, we had a wonderful opportunity to hear from our president here at Norfolk State University, Dr. Melvin Stith, and it was an exciting time to hear from him about HBCUs overall and also about the Battle of the States with Virginia State University. And this was also recorded, and it was interviewed by one of our very own Penda Ray. So take a listen.
Greetings to everyone. My name is Penda Ray. It's August 27th, 2018, and today we kick off the Labor Day Classic 2018. It's Norfolk State and Virginia State. They have been longtime rivals in football, and now we're back for the second annual Battle of the States giving competition. And last year, NSU won the inaugural fundraising competition, raising over $325,000 during the battle. And now we're back to do it again. And the fundraising challenge will decide which university can raise the most money from the largest number of donors. And it begins today at noon, and will go until halftime at the Labor Day Classic football game on Saturday, September 1st. And what a way to kickstart this week's events. We're talking to the interim president of Norfolk State, Dr. Melvin T. Stith Sr., a 1968 alumnus of NSU, as we launch this unique fundraising initiative. We welcome you, President Stith. Truly a pleasure to speak with you.
Well, good morning. It certainly is a pleasure to speak to Spartan Nation during a very special week. I am just so excited about the potential of what we're going to do, and I know we're going to top that 325 from last year. We are ready to roll and probably say, behold.
Come on. And Dr. Stith, let me tell you, I'm smiling over here because I find it so interesting to see how life has brought you back full circle, and just want to know, how has it been to come back to Norfolk State, your alma mater, as the interim president?
Oh, my. What an experience. When I arrived at Norfolk State in 1964, from our family farm in Jersey, Virginia, and never thought I would be doing what I'm doing today. So being the interim president is one of the great experiences of my lifetime.
Beautiful. The
positive energy and attitude that's been exhibited throughout the Spartan community has just been amazing to Patricia and me. Of course, Patricia is my wife. We met at Norfolk State, and she's a great alum like I am. So it has just been exciting. I am just so excited to be a part of the resurgence of Norfolk State University. So many good things have happened. It's amazing when I go out to visit with alumni, with the business community. They all talk about Norfolk State and what an integral part it is to the Hampton Roads community and to our alums around this country. We're just excited about what's going on, and we know still there are better days ahead.
Yes.
Kendall.
Yes, well, I hear it in your voice. And since stepping foot back on campus, what has been your priorities?
Well, it's been a couple of things, because Norfolk State is just a great place. But first, overall, it's just continuous improvement in all of our customer service and all of our operations. And any good organization will always focus on getting better at whatever they do. It's not that we're doing anything really bad. We just want to be the best of the best.
Come on.
And for example, you know, we always talk about our students. And as an alum, so being student-centered is very important. So we talk about students first. How do we serve our students? How do we get them to persist to graduate? How do we have them get good jobs? Those kind of things. How do we fulfill our tagline of "We see the future in you"? So we are asking everyone to buy into this concept, and we just know that Norfolk State is ready to roll.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. And tell me this, how do you feel about the sustainability of HBCUs in this current political climate?
Well, that's a great question, because when I go and speak about Norfolk State, I always start about my conversation about the HBCU community, because it is about all of us surviving and striving.
Yes.
And right now, the HBCU community in many ways is under attack. People talk about are we relevant. They don't look at the great number of doctors, professionals, and people that we send to make this world a better place in each and every day. But I have to be honest, alums and friends of HBCUs must step up to the plate to do things to make us even better. And it all starts, quite frankly, with financial contributions. So I always tell Norfolk State alums it's very simple. You can love Norfolk State to death, but romance without finance don't work it in any part of anybody's life. Okay? And our institutions are no exception to that, Kendall. So we need our alums and our friends to step up. Financial support, providing global experiences, providing internships. Remember, all of our alums are college graduates.
Yes.
And they have these great jobs throughout the world. Give back to your institution. Tell other people about the good things that's going on. Not just Norfolk State. Half of my family, God bless their soul, didn't see the light and went to Virginia State, okay? But we won't hold that against them. But there are great things at Virginia State. There's great things throughout the HBCU community.
Yes.
We have to do a better job of telling our story. But at the end of the day, I have to tell you, I tell my alums, it is about financially supporting and being engaged with the institution to make every operation better.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want you to please share with us what exactly, speaking of this Labor Day Classic 2018, what exactly is the Battle of the States?
Okay, that is a great question. It is very simple. It is starts with a football game, but of course it is a fundraising competition between Norfolk State and Virginia State to see which school can raise the most money from most of our donors among the alumni groups, the friends, and supporters. It began today at 12 o'clock, and I know our phone line will crash if we have so many people calling us this morning. And at noon ends Saturday, and I plan to walk on that field with President Abdullah as the winner of this growing number of supporters and financial contributions. But it's another fun thing, and whatever we raise, both institutions will be better because we'll have more financial means to serve these students who come to study with us.
Yes.
But our goal, alums and friends, is to beat Virginia State like we did last year.
And I know last year, as I said earlier, NSU won the competition, raising $325,000, and that speaks volume in itself. And go ahead.
No, it certainly does.
Yes.
It shows that our friends and our alums and our supporters care about us.
Yes.
And care about us being always in the number one position.
Yes, and I applaud the alumni, the friends and supporters for both universities.
Exactly. That's why it's so important for the Virginia State alums. We're doing this, and I hope the president of Virginia State is doing the same thing this morning with his alums, because we want to raise the battle and show throughout the world that this will get probably some national press of how good both of these institutions really are, because we are two great institutions, okay? And this is just another way of saying to the world how great we are.
Yes, and I know you just spoke about how important it is for our alumni to participate in donating. If you could share with us, how important is it for individuals to support HBCUs, even if they didn't attend one?
Exactly. Think about it. Most of HBCUs, let me just use Norfolk State as an example. Over 95% of our students receive some type of financial aid.
Okay.
So donors like those in our listening audience and around the country to hear about this really is going to help more kids to compete and get a college education.
Yes.
And we know what we want to do is to reduce the amount of debt that our students leave our campuses with, because the cost of education has dramatically increased over the years. And the state governments and other governments like grants just don't provide enough support anymore. So we must step in that gap and fulfill that with some type of financial assistance. We don't want our students to be so heavily burdened with debt that they can't start their life, get married, buy a house, do those things that allow them to have a wonderful life. So that's why this financial support is so critical. to not just Norfolk State again, but to Virginia State and to the entire HBCU community.
Yes.
And that's why donations can make a difference. You know, I recently had a letter from a student, for instance, needed just $400 this semester to graduate. And we come up with that kind of money, and so these gifts allow us to do that.
Amen. Beautiful. Let's see here. How important is philanthropy, not just for this event, but just overall?
Well, overall, philanthropy just make us a better place, because these are the funds that allow us to do things that maybe we can't do with state funds. And again, it allows us to serve more students, to do more in scholarships, faculty research opportunities, allow faculty to travel to global conferences and to have the Norfolk State name throughout the world, have staff to participate in staff-based activities. For instance, in the state of Virginia, the president of the staff and associated is a Norfolk State a lady, so she can go to these conferences and do things. So it just improves the entire community when we have these private dollars that we can control and do things to make us better.
That's what it's about. And although this is, it's a fun competition, we're excited. Again, we're kicking off the Labor Day Classic 2018, but it's also very, very serious.
Yes, it is. It's very serious for both schools, because it's about generating some excitement at the start of a football season that we hope will expand throughout each of our campuses throughout the year when we do our home games, when we do our away games. We know everyone we play except the Mason game is going to be another HBCU. So it's just excitement that this creates for all of us.
Yes.
And that's why I am so excited to be a part of this year.
And we are so excited to have you be a part of it this year. So if you could share with us, how would the money be used?
The money is going to be used for students.
Okay.
For student scholarships. It's all about student scholarships, providing more scholarships for the young men and women who come to see us. And of course, help faculty with research. So suppose a faculty has a really interesting research opportunity and they need some money to buy a special piece of equipment or just to do something to make their life better. We can do that. So those are the two keys that we will use these dollars for.
Okay, beautiful. Is there any particular place that you would like our donors to give to?
No.
Okay.
No. Donors give throughout the life of the university. So whatever you give to support the university will be better, and each unit will use those dollars. Of course, we always need more aid in terms of financial aid for our students in terms of scholarships. So if you ask me, number one priority, it would be for tuition assistance, just to help kids pay these tuition so they can persist to graduate. But look, we're going to make good use of this dollar, whether it's for the Spartan Legion, it's for the cheerleaders, it's for the NEMAS program, the Presidential Scholars, the Provost Scholars. We don't care, because wherever those dollars come in, it's going to make us better.
Yes. Are we asking our donors to contribute a certain amount for this campaign, the Battle of the States?
Yeah, we had asked our daughters to give at least maybe $20 to celebrate just the years that Norfolk State has been around, when we think about all those years that Norfolk State has been in existence. So someone said that in honor of Norfolk State founding in 1935, asking donors to give $19.35. So I round that up to $20.
Okay.
While we love the coins, but there's something about those dollar bills that makes it a little special. So I just rounded that number up. But we know that $20 is good, but we know that is a little low for the donors for Norfolk State, because these folks are so successful. So we figured they would add a couple of zeros behind that 20. Okay.
So how can donors make a gift during the Battle of the States?
Okay, it's just easy. They can go to our website, www.NSU.edu/give now.
Okay.
And if they just go to the Norfolk State website, they will point them directly to the giving category. So it's easy. If they call the main number, we'll give them that, and probably somebody local will come and pick up the check if they need to.
All right now.
We're ready to roll.
Come on. Yes, we are. So tell me.
The car is already on, ready to roll.
Say the car is on, ready to roll. We'll come to your home. You don't have to even leave your home.
We will be there with Spartan pride.
Love it. So how does the Battle of the States Fundraising Challenge end? How does this end?
It ends Saturday in the third quarter.
Okay.
They will announce which is September the 1st, of course. They will announce the winner sometime during the third quarter of that game. And we know that game is going to be packed, again, because, so many families like mine, we either went to Norfolk State, we went to Virginia State. So I just think that day on campus for all of us is win, lose, or draw, and hope we win. It's just going to be a festive day in the life of Norfolk State University. Yes, we're going to have all that blue from Virginia State, and, of course, all of our green and gold from Norfolk State, the blue and orange from Virginia State. So it's going to be a sea of beautiful color in big Price Stadium. And if you're not there, you're going to miss a treat on Saturday. I'm telling you.
You heard it first from President Stitt. He said it. Yes, you said it best. Give us that website again one more time. Where they can make the donations. www.nsu.edu/give now. Give now. Give now. Well, we thank you, President Stitt, for joining us.
And they can also contact the Office of Alumni Affairs at 757-823-8135.
Okay.
And Kendall, I just want to give a shout out to our radio station with all the good news about the categories that we have won in the last year. I just want the staff to know how much we appreciate you do, because I love it, and I especially love Sunday morning gospel. That's just my favorite form of music. And you all are just the best, and I just want the world and our community to know how much we appreciate the radio station and what it means to our community. So thank you and the staff and everybody for all that you do for us.
Thank you so much again. We thank you, President Stitt, for joining us, and for now, all you Spartans near and far, let's show Virginia State why we're the best school. Come on.
That's right. That's why we're going to holler, behold, behold, behold.
Make your donations. Yes, today. Let's get it started right now. You said at noon, right?
I am not on campus. I have to tell you, I'm sitting talking to you in my sister's house, and she was running around waving all this blue and orange in front of my face as I talked to you.
She's like, yes, I hear it, yes.
It's a wonder she didn't cut me off, but she did. She said she just came in with her orange cup.
I love it. But
that's the spirit that we're talking about. Why it's going to be such a fun weekend.
Yes. And again, make your donation today. You heard it first.
And I want the world to know that Patricia and I have already will be making our donation at 12 p.m. sharp today.
Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Patricia. We thank you so much. Yes.
Okay.
Today at noon. And again, yes, you can visit the website that President Stitt had just shared with you. That's www.nsu.edu/give now. Is that what you said, President Stitt? Give now.
Give now.
Yes.
Or if it's local in the Hampton Roads, we need to pick up the check. We can come and do that too.
That's right. Please tell your friends and your family. And again, for more information, as President Stitt said, you can contact the Office of Alumni Relations and Annual Giving at 757-823-8135. One more time. I'll tell you that number again. 757-823-8135. President Stitt, you have a beautiful day, beautiful, awesome week. Again, we thank you. Thank you so much.
There's going to be a lot of green and gold on this campus this week because the excitement is in the air.
Beautiful colors. Yes. Thank you again. And thank you, everyone, for listening. You too.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It's Hampton Roads Voices on Hot 91.
Welcome back, everybody. If you're just joining us, I'm Benita Adams, and this is Hampton Roads Voices, where people speak life into their communities. If you just heard that interview, that was from the Norfolk State interim president, Dr. Melvin Stitt, and he was interviewed earlier this week because that is when the Battle of the States event started, and the entire event in terms of starting the financial part of it. Now, in studio, we have our guest, Mr. Calvin Arthur. He's the foundation manager of the Norfolk State University Foundation. Thank you again so much for being here.
Glad to be here, Benita. Thank you for having me.
Now, let's talk a little bit about what we just heard the president say, and we want you to jump into our conversation as well. 757-823-9110, 823-9110. Are you a product of an HBCU? What do you think about in terms of the community giving back? Are you a first generation college student, actually? And what about the sustainability, the culture, what have you, in terms of what we're talking about today? Now, I think the funniest part, of course, that the president said, he says, what, no romance without finance?
Yes.
I said, oh my goodness, but that really bears repeating, because it's almost like no education without finance.
Absolutely. I mean, as he said, you can love and love and love and love your university, but you need to be a donor. And I can tell you, as he said, Dr. Mel and Dr. Pat, as we call them, Dr. Melvin Stiff and Dr. Patricia Stiff, they believe in this university. As he mentioned, they met here. Mm-hmm. And when I say they believe in it, with their time, their energy, their skills, but very importantly, as leading donors to this university. And they'll be the first to say, and Dr. Miller said this plenty of times, you don't have to give, and I'll quote him a little bit, he said, you don't have to give like Patricia and I give, but give something.
Give something.
Give something back. It's critically important that you give back to the university.
Right. Another really important point that he talked about is that so many times, and we've heard the story over and over again, students are coming out of college, their undergraduate degree, owing hundreds and thousands of dollars. And he said that we really want to alleviate something like that. Donors giving back, corporations giving, the faith community giving can alleviate some of that for our students. And it might be a hindrance for those who say, well, I couldn't even begin to afford that. I'm not even going to college.
Well, every dollar counts. And Benita, you're absolutely right. The giving back helps eliminate that debt that students carry once they do graduate. On average, right now, students are leaving with a bachelor's degree upwards of $35,000 to almost $40,000 of debt just to get their first degree. And as we all know now, that first degree is just a beginning stepping stone to be competitive in the marketplace, more advanced degrees, more advanced skills, training, certifications. So it's absolutely important that those private dollars come in and help our students get out of here with low or no debt. And we all know that support from the federal government has completely changed. Back in 2010, eligibility for PLUS loans, the criteria tightened up. So a lot of families aren't eligible. So it makes it much more important that there's private dollar scholarship support, as well as reduction in Pell Grants.
Mm-hmm. And he also said why it's so important. And we talked a little bit about this earlier at the beginning of the show in terms of giving back to the community, giving back as well, because he talked about students who can get internships from different organizations and companies and so forth. So it really is one big pie, but a lot of different pieces that are a part of that.
Internships, I believe in. They're critically important. We currently have 3 accounting interns in the NSU Foundation. I was an intern when I was in college. So having those corporate relationships so our students can get that first chance in the door with an employer is absolutely important. We want to give our students here on campus internships within our foundation, accounting majors, so that they have something on their resume to give them a jump start out there. But it starts with those corporate relationships with our partners here in the community. That's what volunteering on boards here, whether it's this foundation board, the athletic foundation, also our research and innovation foundation, having those corporate connections to those volunteers are ways that allow our students to have a first shot at an internship. It starts with those relationships with those corporate partners.
It really does. It almost is that what you heard, come back. I have no experience. Well, come back when you get some experience, but I need to stay with you because I don't have any experience. And that's exactly what you're saying. So what have your experiences been? We want you to give us a call. The number is 757-823-9110. Have you had an internship? How has that gone for you? How did that advance your career? Are you a first generation college student? And you want to talk about your experiences. What about your experience in terms of the culture, socially, practically, academically at an HBCU? How has it been for you? How has it been different? How has it supported your dreams and the family atmosphere that so many people talk about when they attend an HBCU? And also, are you going to the game tomorrow? We want to hear from you. The number is 757-823-9110. So those internships are critically important. Finding opportunities to give our students, no matter if it's this school or any other school, but we're talking about this school, to get out there and get the experience that's really just going to take them further and further. And I really like that you said, in terms of, if they say, if I can't afford a bachelor's degree, how could I possibly get another degree?
The market is so competitive now. The internships are critically important. It starts with, of course, that affordability of your bachelor's degree. $35,000 of debt coming out for a bachelor's degree, to me, is just a very heavy burden. Students are coming out, they're trying to find their way, their first job, and of course, here we are asking them after they get out, give back to your university, and they're looking to try to establish themselves and start paying down that college debt. So the private support, last year the foundation gave, and I won't say the foundation gave, but they facilitated through your giving, alumni, community support, right around $1.9 million in scholarship dollars. And you heard Dr. Mel mention your gifts also support our faculty. Faculty development is also critically important. We want our students to be challenged by the best. We want our faculty who are doing fantastic research in partnership with our corporate partners. Those things lead to internship, but we want our faculty to have opportunities to go out and get those great experiences to bring back into the classroom. Last year, through your giving, the foundation was able to facilitate a little over $760,000. So collectively, about $2.6 million in scholarship and program support, faculty support through the foundation to the university.
Absolutely. Now, you're hearing from Mr. Kelvin Arthur, Foundation Manager of Norfolk State Foundation. Before that, you heard, of course, from Dr. Melvin Stith, the interim president here at Norfolk State University. Now, earlier this week, I had an opportunity to speak with Dr. Deborah Fontaine. She's the vice president for university advancement here at Norfolk State University. And I asked her about not only the Battle of the States, what it meant, but also about HBCUs, from which she is the product. Go ahead and take a listen. And you probably know that Norfolk State and Virginia State have been longtime rivals in football, but now we're back for the second annual Battle of the States giving competition. Now, last year, NSU won the inaugural fundraising competition, and we raised over $325,000 during the battle. We're back, and we're going to do it all over again. Now, the fundraising challenge will decide which university can raise the most money for the largest number of donors. Now, it began on Monday at noon and will go until halftime at the Labor Day Classic football game this Saturday, September 1. We're talking to the Vice President for the University Advancement of Norfolk State, Dr. Deborah Fontaine, and today she's going to give us an update on what's going on in terms of the fundraising initiative. Welcome, Dr. Fontaine.
Good morning, Benita, and thank you for the opportunity to be a part of your show.
Oh, absolutely. Now, let's get started. For those who may not even know what the Battle of the States is, give us a little explanation about that.
Well, the Battle of the States is a fundraising competition between Norfolk State University and Virginia State University to see which school can raise the most money from the largest number of donors. Our goal is to beat Virginia State again,
yes,
but most importantly, to raise money for our deserving students.
Now, how do the donations support NSU students?
Well, the thing I want everybody in our audience to understand is that every dollar we raise supports students in a variety of different ways. Scholarships, tuition assistance, which helps students who don't have enough money to close the gap. We raise money for tuition assistance, for travel to conferences. All the funds that we raise go to support our students.
Absolutely, and that's the important part of what we're doing here. Now, are you asking donors to contribute a specific amount to this specific campaign?
No, we're asking students and faculty and staff and all of our friends and colleagues and alumni out there in the community to make a gift of any size. Large or small, all gifts count, and all gifts make a positive impact in the lives of our students.
Absolutely, in the lives of our students. Now, someone might want to know, where can they donate? So is there a particular place that you'd like donors to give to?
Well, as with all of our fundraising opportunities, donors can designate their gift any way they like. But this year, we're asking our donors to particularly focus on two priorities. One is the Spartan Promise Fund for tuition assistance. This fund provides tuition support to students who might be dropped from their classes and courses because they don't have enough money to cover the full amount of their tuition. The difference that these funds make could be as little as $200 to keep deserving students in school. So we're asking people to consider the Spartan Promise Fund for tuition assistance. We're also asking our donors to consider donating money to athletic general scholarships. We have over 300 athletes in our Division I program, and so we're asking people to think about support for our athletes, because when we provide support to them, when they don't have to worry about money, they can beat Virginia State on a gridiron.
And that's absolutely right about that. So who can participate during the Battle of the States?
Anyone may participate. Alumni, friends, family, colleagues, church members, fraternity and sorority members, and the community at large, and especially our students. Last night I was with the Honors College Cafe, and I challenge all of our students to give at least $1. Go online to nsu.edu/give now and make a gift.
Absolutely. So give us a little bit of an update. How is Norfolk State University doing right now in terms of how much we've raised since the Battle of the States kicked off this Monday?
Well, I'm going to be very cautious and careful here. I think we've raised over $20,000. This is just the beginning of the third day of our competition, and so we're doing well. I'm not sure exactly how Virginia State is doing, but to everyone out there that's listening at the sound of my voice, please go online and make a gift. Come into my office and give us a check. However you want to give the money, please give so we can beat Virginia State.
Absolutely. And you said large or small. That's
large
the
or
key.
Small.
That is the key to all of this. So how can donors make a gift during the Battle of the States?
Well, again, just go to the website at www.nsu.edu/give now. All gifts are tax deductible, and you can designate where you want your gift to be used. For folks without internet access, they can mail or drop off checks to the University Advancement Office no later than 4 p.m. on Friday, August the 31st. And our office is in Wilson Hall, Suite 410.
Excellent. Now, when does the Battle of the States fundraising challenge end? Because they need to know that.
It ends at halftime at the Labor Day Classic game Saturday, September the 1st. The game starts at 6 o'clock, so halftime's probably about 7:30.
Absolutely. Get those in then. So can you give us the website one more time for where to give again, please?
Everyone can make their donations at www.nsu.edu/give now.
Dr. Fontaine, thank you so much for joining us today. Now, I need all of our fellow Spartans to go out there. Remember the website, www.nsu.edu/give now, and make your gift today. Make sure you tell your friends, tell your families, tell alumni. And for more information, contact the Office of Alumni Relations and Annual Giving. Here's the number, 757-823-8135. One more time, the Office of Alumni Relations and Annual Giving. The number, 757-823-8135. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
That was just what you heard from Dr. Deborah Fontaine, and she's the Vice President for University Advancement of Norfolk State University. And as she said, we are looking for you to give, to participate in that, because as we heard the President talk about it and also our in-studio guest, it really is for students. We're giving back corporately from the faith community, from all communities, the alumni, and even from the students, because we want to help you. It is unfathomable, actually, to know that students come out with so much debt, and we're trying to help that. But we want to hear from you as well. 757-823-9110. Are you a product of an HBCU? Are you going to the game? What has your involvement been at an HBCU? So again, give us a call. That is 757-823-9110. We still have our in-studio guest, Dr. Calvin Arthur. We're going to hear a lot more from him. He is the foundation manager of the NSU Foundation. And we're also going to hear more from Dr. Deborah Fontaine. We have a lot more after this break. So stay locked in.
Is Hampton Roads Voices on Hot 91.
If you're just joining us, welcome. I'm Benita Adams, and this is Hampton Roads Voices, where people speak life into their communities. We're talking about HBCUs, and I know there are a lot of you out there who have attended an HBCU. You're alumni, or you're presently a student. Go ahead and give us a call. The number is 757-823-9110. We just heard from Dr. Deborah Fontaine, and she is the Vice President for University Advancement of Norfolk State University. We also had a wonderful interview from earlier this week from Dr. Melvin Stith, and he is the interim president of Norfolk State University. In studio, we are so pleased to have Mr. Kelvin Arthur. He's the foundation manager of Norfolk State University Foundation, and we really have been interested in what's being said in terms of giving back. So again, thank you so much for being here. And we have, don't forget, we have another half of the interview with Dr. Fontaine, and also Marty Miller will be coming up, the athletic director, and you really don't want to miss this. His story is so interesting, and I really didn't know, Kelvin, his story and how he's been here 45 years. And so that is so interesting. So we're going to hear a little bit more from Dr. Fontaine, and we're going to hear from some of our students as well, because this really is about them.
Well, Mr. Miller, as you mentioned, has been here over 40 years as a student athlete, years as an administrator, and now athletic director. So very interested in hearing his interview, and I can say just in advance of it, it is critically important to give to our athletic program. Division I athletics is very, very expensive to operate. And this is Division I program, so we are attracting some top-notch athletes from across the country to come here to represent Spartan Nation. So giving to athletics is critically important.
And I'm really glad that you said that, because sometimes people say, oh, sports, oh, it's sports. But as when we heard from the president, remember he talked about part of why we are having this competition for the Battle of the States with Virginia State University. And the big game, of course, is Saturday, tomorrow, September 1st at 6 p.m. It is to put us on a world stage so people see the wonderful things that are going on here at Norfolk State University. And also they understand that so many of these dollars, as he said, goes for scholarships to students. It goes for faculty, professional development. It gets writers in here. It gets certain people in here. And that is really important. So I am very pleased that you're really emphasizing the athletics of this entire competition as well.
Absolutely. Athletics has to pay for itself. Federal and state dollars, the athletic programs, they have to sustain themselves. So it's ticket sales, it's private donations, it's those things that have to make the athletics happen. And also great partnership with our sponsors. This year, the Labor Day Classic is being presented by Union Bank and Trust, a new partner with us here at Norfolk State University. So those kind of connections are critically important overall to the success of our students, but specifically the athletic programs. And one of the other things that Dr. Mel mentioned, you know, these discretionary dollars, the private dollars that come in, I'm not talking state, I'm not talking federal, the private gifts that come from our alums and donors in the community, those are the dollars that have the greater flexibility to fill those needs in the university's operation. As Dr. Fontaine mentioned, some of our students within $400 away from being deregistered. And after they have invested 4 or 5 years of hard study to get that close, we need to take them across the finish line. We need to cross the goal line with them. So if your gift, and I know you may think sometimes, well, my little gift doesn't do much, but it adds up with others giving, and it takes students across the finish line. And our goal is to have more and more Spartan graduates.
What an analogy, to take them across the finish line. If they're within just that little amount, it's almost like when you see someone in track and field and they start to lean their body into the ribbon, and they're almost there, and it's so exciting. So and that's just how we see this.
Yes.
They're that close. Now, if someone is interested in being a corporate sponsor, what qualifications, which I'm sure there are, can you give us just a very general overview in terms of a corporate sponsor?
Well, the corporate sponsorship can happen in a number of ways. As I mentioned, Union Bank and Trust is presenting the Labor Day Classic, and you know, this is one of the events I think that really puts us on a world stage for both universities. But that corporate partnership and your naming in the stadium, or you may be just sponsoring a specific program with your sponsorship support. And those corporate relationships, we provide then that platform, that visibility to our alum base. But also those relationships then lead to other passions. If that particular industry wants to support a particular program, here we have some great students, as Dr. Mel mentioned, in our Genemus program, our top math and science program. So our technology companies out there, our top healthcare companies out there, our engineering partners out there, we want them to sow seeds in programs where students are going to come out and be interns or possible new hires for them in those industries.
Absolutely. Now, if you were with us a little bit earlier, you heard the first part of the interview with Dr. Deborah Fontaine. And again, don't forget, she's the Vice President for University Advancement here at Norfolk State University. We had a chance to ask her a few more questions, very specifically about HBCUs. So here's the other part of that. Go ahead and take it. Now, Dr. Fontaine, our show, of course, today is about the sustainability of HBCUs. And I know, of course, this being one of the premier HBCUs, talk about how it's sustained, how it still supports our community and our students, and why it's so necessary this time.
Well, let me say first, Benita, that I'm a product of a historically black college and university, and I'm very proud of that. I was prepared for my life's career and work. What I think that's really important for us as alumni of historically black colleges and universities, and those of us who are part of that environment as professionals, it's really important for us to give back. You know, sustainability is always, in many respects, about the finances. And so I think it's really important that if I love my HBCU, I should support my HBCU financially. And I do believe that this is an area where alumni across the nation who have gone to HBCUs need to step up. They need to dig a little deeper and sacrifice a little bit more, because there's lots of new generations of young people that would like to come to a historically black college and university. And when you consider the fact that many of the students in our communities don't have enough resources to come to school, it's important that we give back so that that opportunity is there for them going forward.
So how do you encourage the alumni? I understand that that's how it should be done, but how do you encourage them to say, I want to step up to the plate, I want to give because of just what you said?
Well, one of the things that we do here at Norfolk State, and I think we do very well, is we make the case for why a young person ought to consider Norfolk State University. Mm-hmm. This is a great university. We have wonderful academic programs. This year we have a new theater program that's being launched. We have cybersecurity at the undergraduate and the graduate level and almost at the PhD level. So we make the case for the quality of the education at Norfolk State University and the other historically black colleges and universities. It's a valued added proposition. And what I say to young people, because I did go to an HBCU, this is the one time in your life where you're going to be in the majority. And if I could say, quite frankly, race is not an issue for you, so you can come to an HBCU and thrive. What I got from going to my alma mater was confidence. And once you get confidence, you can soar.
Absolutely. Now, I have heard many students say that what they love about an HBCU so much is the family environment, how they feel affirmed, how they feel they can learn to be confident, as you mentioned. Have you heard the same thing?
Absolutely. We've done some branding. We've interviewed students, both majority students, minority students, and they tell us that Norfolk State is a place where they feel like it's family. They feel that they can grow and prosper. They can talk about issues that maybe they couldn't talk about at other places. And you're right, they get affirmed. It's a family atmosphere. It's a great place to be.
Absolutely. I've heard that over and over again. So we're very pleased. We're very proud to be Spartans here.
Absolutely.
Dr. Fontaine, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. And that, again, was Deborah Fontaine. She is the Vice President for University Advancement and Norfolk State. And in studio, we're still with us, Mr. Calvin Arthur, Foundation Manager of Norfolk State University Foundation. Let's look a little bit at what Dr. Fontaine said. One of the things that she said in terms of this just being a great place is making the case that there's such quality education here. And she talked about some new programs and so forth.
The value add, making the case for students to come here and be a part of the Spartan family and be a part of HBCUs overall. We've talked earlier about giving and philanthropy. That's one of the components. But what Dr. Fontaine is getting into, which is another component of sustainability, is enrollment. This year, and I believe in Dr. Shackelford, if you're out there listening, don't throw things at me. I believe our number of incoming freshmen, right around 1,200 students
Okay.
coming in, one of the largest, if not the largest freshman class ever here at Norfolk State. And I say that because enrollment is critical. We can give, and alumni do a great job out there of giving here, but we also need your sons and daughters, your nieces and nephews to fill our residence hall. About 3 weeks ago, we cut the ribbon on a brand new residence hall that's going to come online, 742 beds in the fall of next year.
Excellent.
We want to fill all of those. So I need that value add proposition for you to talk to your sons, daughters, nieces, and nephews about coming to Norfolk State or about coming to HBCUs overall.
And I think that's so important what she said, because that's a part of it. That's a part of the conversation. And she said as a product of an HBCU, she gained confidence. And so that is the value added. That is a part of the conversation. Not only do they have great programs, not only can you get a great education, but the environment in which you find yourself, the majority minority she talked about, no matter what your race is. She said if race doesn't matter, even if it did matter, it's a great place to be here. And the confidence.
The intangibles, intangibles of the HBCU experience. A lot of folks will talk about some of the things that are going on tonight, like the Battle of the Bands, and that's all a part of the experience of being at an HBCU. And one of the ways of paying it forward is talking about those things to our high school students as they're coming up and looking for college opportunities now. The intangibles and what it means to come to an HBCU and be a part of this legacy of education.
That's
and
right.
that's exactly what it is. You're part of a legacy of education that started back in the 60s. There's over 102 HBCUs. About 50% of them are private, the other 50% public. We're educating about 300,000 students in HBCUs, but we need that number to continue to grow.
We do. And let me give you our number so you can join our conversation, 757-823-9110. Are you a product of an HBCU? Are you considering going to an HBCU, excuse me? And also, we talk about the sustainability, the confidence that you can gain. Give us a call, 757-823-9110. This is Hampton Roads Voices on Hot 91.
What is one thing that makes your HBCU stand out?
School spirit.
The fact that we are an HBCU and we still have a very diverse population of students on campus.
If I had to say, it would be that here it's more of a family.
School pride.
Me being a junior now, coming from my freshman year, I say the school pride is one thing that makes Norfolk State stand out.
One thing that stood out about my school, when I went to visit other schools, it felt like I was still secluded, like nobody really wanted to talk to me.
It's still so many diverse faces, so many diversity among the students, and that's something that I picked on as soon as I stepped on campus.
But as soon as I came here, it was like I had basically just walked back into my home. Felt like this is where I was meant to be from the start, and I just didn't realize it until I finally stepped on campus and looked around.
Is Hampton Roads Voices on Hot 91.
Welcome back, everybody. If you're just joining us, I'm Benita Adams, and this is Hampton Roads Voices. Today, we've been talking about the sustainability of HBCUs. We also have heard from the president of Norfolk State University, and also we've heard from Deborah Fontaine, the vice president of University Advancement of Norfolk State University. And, of course, we've been talking about the Battle of the States giving competition. The game, of course, is tomorrow at 6 p.m. In studio with us, we have Mr. Calvin Arthur, Foundation Manager of the Norfolk State University Foundation. Thank you again for being here.
Glad to be here, Benita. Thank you.
Now, we heard from some students, and we heard what they said in terms of why they attend an HBCU. I know you've heard that before.
Yes, and you've heard, I think, a lot of similar things about the intangibles, the value add, as Dr. Fontaine mentioned. But the way the students said it was, it felt like a family. The diversity. I think it's very important that we understand from two standpoints about sustainability. You know, I've talked a little bit about enrollment. Do HBCUs still matter? From the National Center of Education, their statistics, about 49,000 degrees were conferred by HBCUs in 2016. 81% of those were bachelor's degrees to black students.
Excellent.
It happens. It starts at the HBCU. It continues on through master's degrees. But and most importantly, what you heard from the students was they embraced diversity, my culture. It was like family when I came here, and that's why I'm here. That's part of that HBCU experience. That's the value add, and it's different from everyone. But I think what happens with the HBCU experience, and our students were saying it, when I came here, it felt like home, and it's natural. I think it's completely natural that you're hearing it from students at HBCUs about embracing diversity. And embracing diversity is one of those themes that leads to success, and we know it.
Right.
There may be places in Washington, D.C. that don't embrace it, but we know it. At HBCUs, embracing the different cultures, students come from all different segments of our economic spectrum here.
That's right.
And they do well, they succeed here. And as Dr. Fontaine said, as a product of an HBCU, they succeed with confidence.
Confidence.
They know that they can compete out in the marketplace, and they have interacted with a diverse group of people that prepares them to be successful out in the world marketplace.
I think that's critical. That point that you just made was critical, as Dr. Fontaine said, that confidence that goes along with it, but having a realistic view and picture of what the world really looks like and what the world really wants from our students, from our graduates, once they get out there, so that, as you mentioned, the value added is such an important part of that.
Our students are competing in a global marketplace. So they absolutely must be skilled and ready to compete in a diverse world. That's one of those pieces of the HBCU experience. And to get them there, to get them across the goal line, and I'm saying this, I know that you have an upcoming interview with Dr. Marty Miller talking about athletics. To get them across the goal line, they need to have that diverse educational experience here, other students, peer-to-peer, as well as faculty. Those experiences in the classroom prepare them for the global marketplace.
That's right, the larger world. What have your experiences been? Give us a call, 757-823-9110. Are you considering enrolling in an HBCU? Are you an alumni? Are you a present student? Are you a first generational student? So give us a call. That is 757-823-9110. We also had a wonderful opportunity, and it was actually this morning, that I was able to speak with Marty Miller. And I found his story so interesting. As I said, he's been here for 45 years, but he's been here, he said, 1969 since that time. And he has worked in various departments and parts of Norfolk State. So again, we're getting ready to hear an interview with Mr. Marty Miller. He's the athletics director of Norfolk State University. You don't want to miss this. Norfolk State and Virginia State have been longtime rivals in football, and now we're preparing for a fun-packed weekend of festivities. Tonight we had Battle of the Bands and Casino Night Royale. Tomorrow is the big game, and we've been in a fundraising battle against VSU since Monday, and that's still going on through halftime of the big game tomorrow. Now we're talking to Athletics Director of Norfolk State University, Mr. Marty Miller. He's a 1969 alumnus of NSU, and he's going to tell us what's going on. Mr. Miller, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, and I'm very happy to be a part of this morning.
Now, the big game is coming up tomorrow. Tell us how this rivalry started.
Well, this rivalry started a long time ago. It started back in 1991, and the idea was that we would play this game here at Norfolk State because we had the larger venue, and we could draw larger crowds. But we would work out some arrangement with Virginia State to make this happen each and every year.
Now, the Casino Night Royale is tonight. Tell our listeners a little bit more about that, please.
Well, that's a fundraiser for the athletic department. As most of you know, we're always trying to raise funds to support scholarships, recruiting, and a number of the initiatives that we have in athletics. So this particular event started last year, and it's really catered to those individuals who love to have fun, with such things as playing blackjack, poker. So for those who have that interest, this would be a great event for them to attend tonight.
I think that sounds, I like that you said for those people that like to have, someone who doesn't like to have fun. Okay, now we've been battling Virginia State since Monday for Battle of the States. Why do you want our listeners to support NSU in this particular athletic scholarship?
Well, first of all, this is a contest.
It is.
And with me being a former student athlete and former coach, I'm a very competitive individual. So we always want to win. So we want to make sure that we able to receive more funds and revenues than Virginia State this week. Last year we were very successful. So I'm hoping that our fans and supporters will step up again. So when we make this announcement during the game, after halftime of the game, I want Norfolk State to be on top in the amount of money that's been raised.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. And saying that you're a competitive person. Of course, we would assume that. Now, in terms of donations, is there a specific amount that you'd like people to contribute?
Well, we don't want a specific amount, but we like to have a whole lot of money. So we're asking individuals to give whatever they can, but we want them to be generous and think about what is supporting such things as our student athletes. We are trying to make sure that our student athletes have all of the benefits that they need while they're here enrolled at Norfolk State University.
Now, who can participate in this Battle of the States? Anyone or specific people?
Any and everyone. People with a lot of money, people with a little bit of money. It doesn't matter. We would take it all.
So you don't even care. You said, just bring some money.
Bring some money.
I get that. I see what you're saying. So how are we doing right now in terms of how much we've raised since the Battle of the States kicked off on Monday?
Well, as of yesterday, we collected a total of $45,225. Now, I'm hoping that our fans are not happy with that figure.
Okay.
I'm hoping we can triple that figure before the day is over.
Excellent.
But again, we'll be taking donations up through halftime of the game on tomorrow.
Very good. Now, can you tell our donors that make a gift during the Battle of the States how they should give? Where should they go to get the information?
Well, they can go out on the website. It's www.nsu.edu/give now.
Okay. Now, you did already say this, but I just want everyone listening to know, when does the Battle of the States fundraising challenge end? Because they definitely want to get all that money in before it ends.
We need for everyone to make that donation by halftime of the game tomorrow.
Okay, halftime. Everybody heard that. Halftime tomorrow. That is so important. And one more time, can you give us that website? Because I know they need to hear this.
Yes, www.nsu.edu/give now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. Now, I'm talking to all our fellow Spartans out there. Make sure you go to the website that Mr. Miller mentioned. That's www.nsu.edu/give now and make your gift today so we can beat Virginia State in the Battle of the States Giving Challenge. Tell all your friends, tell all your families. As Mr. Miller said, any amount will do, and we really, really want to support this. Now, for more information, contact the Office of Alumni Relations and Annual Giving. The number is 757-823-8135. Let me give that to you one more time. Office of Alumni Relations and Annual Giving. That number is 757-823-8135. Thanks so much. Thanks for coming live now in the studio. And that again was Athletics Director of Norfolk State, Mr. Marty Miller, a 1969 alumnus of Norfolk State. And in our studio, again, we still have Mr. Kelvin Arthur. He's the foundation manager of NSU Foundation. Now, you had mentioned already about how important the athletic programs are here at Norfolk State University. And Mr. Miller, of course, reiterated that, definitely talking about student athletes, fundraising for the athletic department. Touch on a couple of things that Mr. Miller said, please.
Absolutely. And Mr. Miller, a very humble gentleman, and 45 years of history here, named a distinguished alum about 2 years ago, and really a crowning achievement for him in that recognition. 45 years of history as a student, a faculty member, an administrator here, and then as athletic director, and part of that time as director of financial aid. So he has seen student need firsthand, up close, and as walking these grounds and competing here, as he said, he wants to win. But being a student athlete here and being the director of athletics now, it takes a lot of money to run a Division I program. He has to juggle quite a number of things. Scheduling of these games and so forth. And as he mentioned, this event happening here was an agreement with with Virginia State, because we had the larger venue to drive value, to drive greater ticket sales. And then both of the schools have their own numbers and formula. I'm sure Mr. Miller has worked it out with Virginia State on how those dollars are split. Certainly, we want to win this competition, the Battle of the States. There are going to be volunteers throughout the stadium tomorrow. Our alumni director, Michelle Hill, and her assistant director, Noelle Cook, have a number of volunteers that'll be at the gates, ready to take your donations. And don't worry, you don't have to have cash. They'll be prepared to take and swipe your debit card. It will be confidential. It will be secure, and you can make your donation at that time so we can get it in before halftime of the game.
Definitely before halftime. And when I met with Mr. Miller this morning, I talked about this a bit at the top of the show, and that was that he said when he first came here, just exactly what we're saying, he didn't have all the finances that he needed originally when he came as a student. He needed some help. He needed some assistance. And that is exactly what we've been talking about. Sometimes it's as little as $200. Sometimes it might be a little bit more. But knowing that these funds are really going to support the students who will go out there after they're educated and after they graduate and truly represent the HBCU in which they have been a part of.
Absolutely, and it's a little trickier when the student athletes involved. Mm-hmm. So Mr. Miller has a big job of navigating those dollars in the right way to help our student athletes, because there are NCAA guidelines that you have to follow, and he does that very successfully. There's a lot of discussion out there about should student athletes be paid and so forth. Right now, let's just get them the academic dollars that they need to be successful, to finish their degree, and go on and be graduates of Norfolk State University.
Absolutely.
They're student athletes, but they're students first.
They're students first. That is the key. And we have a very unique population. HBCUs overall have a very unique population, and there is a very unique population here at Norfolk State University in terms of the type of student that we get, their background, their experiences. And I believe that at HBCU can nurture that. They can nurture just and give that student exactly what they need in order to help them be successful.
As we said earlier in the show, we're still attracting a number of first-generation students, first one in their family, and here we are in 2018, and I'm saying this, first one in their family to come to college. We still have work to do. There's been some great successes. Of course, everyone pointed to the election of Barack Obama as president, but it's not done.
It's not done.
And our HBCUs are continuing that, what's needed to prepare students. That shows that our work isn't done. We need to have more educated people of color, black students, and as we've talked about, HBCUs are coming much more diverse. 23% of the enrollment in HBCUs now are non-black students.
Interesting.
We have become, HBCUs, and I believe this have become areas of choice because, as we said, it's a global marketplace, and you have to compete and you have to be involved and be around and be immersed in diversity, and that's a unique part of the HBCU experience. Students are coming here from different backgrounds, and they embrace it, I believe, greatly at HBCUs, the fact that the world doesn't just look like me.
No, it does not. And they are taught and groomed and trained so that when they get out there. So what have your experiences been? We want to hear from you. There really isn't a conversation without you. So give us a call, 757-823-9110. 757-823-9110. I have a little more of the conversation I had with Mr. Miller on the other side of the break. And again, he talks about his experiences at an HBCU. 823-9110. Give us a call. This is Hampton Roads Voices on Hot 91.
Is Hampton Roads Voices on Hot 91.
Welcome back to Hampton Roads Voices. I'm Benita Adams. A little bit earlier before the break, we heard an interview with Athletics Director of Norfolk State, Mr. Marty Miller. And again, he's a 1968 alumnus of Norfolk State. I got a chance to ask him about HBCUs right after we talked about the Battle of the States. And this is what he said. So, Mr. Miller, our show today, Hampton Roads Voices, we're talking about the sustainability of HBCUs. And so many times you hear the conversation about, oh, do we still need HBCUs? Are they necessary? Are they meeting their goals and challenges? But talk about the sustainabilities of HBCUs with what's going on right now.
Well, HBCUs are important. It is critical that we continue to support them. These institutions serve many students who actually need this type of environment to be successful. Because if you look at the history of HBCU, many leaders and outstanding individuals graduated from these institutions. So they play a major role in the future of this country. And I'm hoping that each and every one will continue to support the HBCUs because they are vital to the viability of this nation.
Oh, I think absolutely. And sometimes I think people don't understand in terms of how HBCUs were established and why they were established, and even more so to the point that you made, the great people that have contributed to this country that have attended HBCUs and the environment that we have. So I think that is so important. So in terms of philanthropic efforts and so forth, how important it is for alumni to participate in just giving back and donating to an HBCU?
I think that what HBCU have done to help establish many careers, I think we have an obligation to give back. Mm-hmm. We should always be thinking about the young people who are following us, and they need the financial support. Many of them don't have the funds to go to college, but those of us who've had the opportunity to attend a university, to have a career, we are obligated to give back to help those in need.
That's right. We pay it forward. Absolutely have to do that. And in terms of not just the alumni, but the importance of the community, how can a community actually support an HBCU?
Well, over the years, HBCUs have been ingrained in the communities throughout this country. And it's important for them to collaborate and continue to work together because even here in Norfolk State, we could not be successful without the support of the various communities in this area. So to me, it's a collaboration that's essential in order for us to be successful and to continue to survive.
That's right, because it not only helps the students at an HBCU, it helps the communities, it helps the churches, it helps the businesses. So it is true. It's a total collaboration. The village principle. How do you raise? How do you give back? How do you do? It's like that as well. So would you encourage a person who's considering an HBCU? What would you tell them?
Well, I'm in favor of students attending HBCUs because I know the value that these institutions play and also what we have been able to gain as students by attending HBCU. So for me, I just think it's a responsibility of individuals to give back to our institution, especially if you attended one, graduated from an institution. Because right now we're in a financial climate in which we need the support of everyone to continue to survive and to be successful. So for me, I think everyone should write a check each month to their institution, nice. Just like they do with our regular bills. So I think that's an obligation. And if we did that, our institution will become stronger financially.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been great.
That again was Athletics Director of Norfolk State University, Mr. Marty Miller. And he, of course, is a product, as he just said, of an HBCU. In our studio, Mr. Calvin Arthur, still here, Foundation Manager of Norfolk State University Foundation. And a couple of things that Mr. Miller said, it's almost an obligation, he was saying. You should want to give back to a place that cultivated you, taught you, trained you. That's what he was saying.
Absolutely. And he said it a couple of ways. First, giving back monthly. And I'm a big believer in that monthly giving, workplace giving. We have a campaign here on campus. We raise upwards of $200,000 from the faculty and staff here on campus. They make it a priority. They work here, they teach here, they interact here, and they give here. That is one of their giving priorities. And giving steady gifts, monthly gifts. We know it could be difficult for you to make that large lump gift at one time. So do it monthly, spread it out over payroll deduction, however works. But those things do add up, and it's critically important. The other thing, he said he's an advocate for going to HBCUs, for students coming to HBCUs. He didn't just say Norfolk State. And it's critically important that we look at it in that broader scope. Coming up in October, the American Association of State Colleges and Universities, at their annual meeting in D.C., they're going to have a segment completely devoted to sustaining HBCUs. So higher ed presidents and thought leaders are going to come together and try to put a little more meat around the bone and tackle what it is, what we need to do to sustain our HBCUs. And as Director Miller said, giving, regular giving, but also enrollment, coming to HBCUs. And as I mentioned, talk to your nephews, nieces, sons, and daughters. We need to enroll and come here, live on campus, and get that HBCU experience.
And remember also Dr. Deborah Fontaine, she's, of course, the VP of University Advancement. She even said that students can give. And so we would be remiss without really mentioning that again. It may not be a lot, but again, it does pay it forward. It does open opportunities for other students to come. So even whatever the gift, whatever the size, whatever, you can still be a part of that.
Student philanthropy is critically important. It's a message. It says to our elected leaders that we believe in our HBCU and we're going to give to sustain it. And we understand right now that you're a student, but when you start that philosophy, that culture of giving back, it continues and it grows and it follows them throughout their career path. As we mentioned earlier, we have a number of students who are first generation, and our first generation graduates are some of our strongest givers back. They understood what it was, what a privilege it was to come to college, to come to Norfolk State, and they value the education that they receive. They're giving back. But our current students, just something to give starts that process. We know you've got a ways to go, but starting that culture of student philanthropy is critically important. It certainly demonstrates and says, I believe in my institution. And if you don't show that you believe, that you're willing to invest in it, others won't.
Others won't. It's almost the principle of putting your money where your mouth is.
Absolutely.
Type thing. Yes, I believe in it, but we also need to put our money there, because what better place could you invest your dollars than at a HBCU to grow future leaders and to inspire others? So what has your experience been? This 757-823-9110. Are you going to the game tomorrow? Are you a product of an HBCU? Are you a first generation college student? Give us a call, 823-9110. This is Hot 91, Hampton Roads Voices.
Is Hampton Roads Voices on Hot 91.
Everybody, I'm Benita Adams, and welcome back to Hampton Roads Voices, where people speak life into their community. And our conversation today has been about the sustainability of HBCUs. We know how important they are, whether it's Norfolk State, whether it's Virginia State, any other HBCU. We know how it is so important. And we've been talking about how important it is to give and to contribute to the entire notion of student athletes, for students, for faculty, from the community, being a corporate partner. Battle of the States is going to be tomorrow, and that, of course, is at 6 p.m. And we have in studio Mr. Calvin Arthur, again, Foundation Manager of Norfolk State Foundation. And we just heard from Marty Miller, 2 parts of that interview. And again, he said some excellent things in terms of just the importance, why it's critical, how it benefits a student, administrator, faculty person from an HBCU.
The HBCU experience, and we talk about this all the time, a value add. It's preparing our students for that global marketplace. And as Mr. Miller said, give to an HBCU, support Norfolk State, critically important. We're preparing students to be out there on the global stage.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Exactly. So one last time, encourage someone who is considering giving to an HBCU. They're on the borderline. They're thinking about it. Based on what we've said today, encourage them to give.
What I would say is what started back in the 60s is continuing and continues strong. That is education, educating people of color in this country. Mm-hmm. And we're at a critical point. We want this legacy of education and a legacy of excellence. We are seeing the fruit, the benefit of our HBCU grads do fantastic things in the world, and we want that to continue. So look to your local HBCU, look to HBCUs across the country. As I mentioned, 102 HBCUs, 51 public, 51 private. Find one that fits for you, but support supporting HBCUs continues that legacy of education of people of color in this country.
Absolutely. So how can we find you if they want to ask you more information and more questions? They have more information they want to get from you. How can they find you?
Absolutely. You can find me here on campus. I'm in Wilson Hall in Suite 410. My number here is 823-2928, or you can reach me by email at kwarthur@nsu.edu. So writing your checks to Norfolk State University Foundation, those are the things that go to Norfolk State. And as I mentioned, your dollars come to us and to go through us to support the university, primarily for scholarships, but also to support programs and faculty development here at Norfolk State.
So what are you most excited about the game tomorrow, Battle of the States? What are you most excited about?
I'm most excited about us winning again. I think once you win once, you got to continue to win this fundraising battle. As Mr. Miller said, give something, no matter how small it is. As Dr. Fontaine said, we're looking for the number of donors, a gift of any size. Number one thing is we want to win, because winning this battle means winning something for our students.
Right. It's not just a game. And that part is important. We don't want to dismiss that. But winning for the students. And you mentioned again, if they bring cash, if they bring credit cards, if they bring check, is that okay?
Absolutely. There's going to be volunteers throughout the stadium able to handle your debit card transactions, able to receive your gifts of cash, checks at that time. So we want to make it easy for you. We want to make sure that you have ample time to make that gift, get to your seat, and get ready to see a great football game.
Absolutely. And you can give. Don't forget, you can give all the way up until halftime. Is that correct?
Absolutely. At halftime, the challenge ends, and we want to crown Norfolk State again, the winner of Battle of the States.
We do. We've also, throughout the show, given you the website, www.nsu.edu/give now. Don't forget, nsu.edu/give now. Now, don't forget that we rebroadcast this show every Sunday, 12 to 2. If you missed something, don't forget you can hear it again. If you have any great ideas in terms of suggestions for topics, please contact me, bkadams@nsu.edu. And again, we have our YouTube channel. So don't forget, this is all about you. Great conversations, great topics, passionate callers. Hot 91, Hampton Roads Voices. We'll see you next time.
It's Hampton Roads Voices on Hot 91.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are not those of Norfolk State University or WNSB FM. Thank you for listening.